I've got Anthony Davidson, Naomi Schiff alongside me. Before we focus on that, Naomi, I'd just like us to consider some of these big rumours that are circulating at the moment about driver moves up and down the paddock. Just how distracting is it to focus on putting in strong performances at the same time as negotiating your future?
Well, it can be a really big distraction, particularly for the drivers who are out of contract at the moment. And for them, it's going to be the challenge of managing what they're doing off track and compartmentalizing that from what happens on track, because we know that this next decision in their career is going to be a big one. So that can put a lot of pressure on your shoulders, but you don't want that to put so much pressure on your shoulders that you start overdriving, making mistakes, because in this sport, you can go from hero to zero in an instant.
I mean, easier said than done, Anton. As we pass by a driver now who's considering their future, even if you've got a contract, they're not necessarily even worth the paper they're written on. You've got to keep putting in really big, impressive performances.
It's an industry that demands perfection from not just the team, but the drivers as well, first and foremost. So if you start to relax in any way, even if you have a multi-year deal in place, like you say, not worth the paper it's written on, because you can be kicked out before you know it. If the performances start to slip, the team will have their eye on you straight away and you'll be out the door.
So no room for complacency. Let's see who can put in some big performances on track today. All the action up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hello and welcome to my F1 25 driver career mode here today for part 13 for the Monaco Grand Prix. There has been some rumours in the paddock about driver moves, as they were just talking about, but the concentration today is on a very wet qualifying here on the streets of Monaco. Let's see if there's any sort of opportunity today to get ourselves in a favourable position ahead of the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow, which is going to be dry. Our first lap though was on the full wet tyres. We went purple in the middle sector, and that first lap is going to put us inside the top 5. Now we skip on towards the end of this session. I decided to risk it for the Inter. Everyone else has gone soft. We've found 1.5 seconds. We've gone purple once again in the middle sector, and we've crossed the line, and that's going to put us on the front row of the grid alongside Max Verstappen. But we couldn't improve on our next run, and we dropped down to P3. So it's here though where we have a dilemma. We have a very worn engine, but with P3 on the grid, I decided to take the risk. There's sacrifice qualifying. I know it's the worst track to sacrifice qualifying. I'd rather be able to finish the race than be in a strong position and the engine goes on us. We're going to have to adjust the strategy, of course, with the mandatory 2 stops. Let's go then to the race.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863, and of course a certain road race first held in 1929. There is no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill past the casino and then descend towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of 19 corners, so don't expect to see much overtaking here today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tsunoda, Piastri, Lando Norris and Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton and Sonny Hayes, Albon, Alonso, Jack Doohan and Hülkenberg, Hadjar, Gasly, Lance Stroll, Gabriel Bortoleto, Behrman, Pierce, Ocon and Brown. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Well, we welcome you to the broadcast. It's going to be some race today. First of all, introductions. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this one, Anthony Davidson. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
So as the cars make their way now towards the grid, we're starting stone dead last. We're starting on the soft tyres, and we're going to pit at the end of lap 1 for the hard tyres to get rid of one of the mandatory stops we've got to do in this race. But then as the 5 red lights come on ahead of the Grand Prix here in Monaco, we're racing in Monte Carlo. We've got a fairly decent start, but we've really had to lift to avoid hitting the back of the apex of Piers. And now we go into turn 1. They're side by side, Ocon and Piers. We can't find a way through. Can Piers get the exit here? Yes, he can. He's just got his nose ahead of the Haas of Ocon. Ocon's trying to keep it pinned round the outside of the casino. Now to the right, and he looks like he's just got his nose back ahead as Esteban Ocon. They're going to be side by side though into Mirabeau. We can't find any sort of outlet to have a go at getting past one of them, but really we're just trying to stay intact on this opening lap because we are going to pit at the end of it. And hopefully, as round the outside, Piers tries to get Ocon back into Portier. Can he get the job done at the second Portier? They're now side by side. It looks like Ocon has just won that battle, but we're getting an excellent tow here. And we're going to go and make it 3 wide at the chicane at Monaco and do the double. Piers hits the barrier there and loses out to Esteban Ocon. It's a dramatic first lap. They spent the entire lap side by side, and we have taken full advantage of it and done a double move in Monaco, 3 wide at the chicane. But we are going to pit now at the end of lap 1, get rid of these soft tyres, go on to the hards and see how far we can get them. It takes us out of the battle where everyone's just going to be holding each other up, and hopefully we can undercut a few cars and get ourselves up back into a valuable position, get these tyres as far so that we're in that position by the time it's time for the second stops in this race. This is Carlos Sainz on lap 3 through the swimming pool. He's spun and he's blocked the track. It's a car park behind him. Carlos Sainz makes a mistake here on the streets of Monaco, and look at the train behind this contact with everyone. It's a car park. It looks like the M25 down at the swimming pool as we go through the tunnel, and it's a red flag. It's a red flag, and that's completely ruined the strategy. The red flag is out as Carlos Sainz tries to point his William back in the right direction. You can see there he's just lit it up going through the swimming pool, blocked the track, and then everyone is just kind of drove into the back of him. It is a bit of an unsighted corner, is the swimming pool, and you can see Lando here spinning right in front of him and he's got nowhere to go. This is Lewis Hamilton now, and he's hit the back of Lando, and look at everyone just steaming into the back of each other. But now it is a question. Of course we can go to the hards. This would count as our second stop, but we're going to be committing then to really a free stop, just 3 laps into this race. So we're going to stick with the same set of hard tyres. Probably a bit questionable, but we'll see what happens as the lights go out and we're racing for the second time here in Monaco. This time though, we're going to have to be aggressive on this opening lap. We've got to get our way through here. These are all 4 position now. The strategy has not worked. We've gained a couple of places at at Saint Devot. No heroics there as we're going wheel to wheel now, trying to go round the outside of the Haas to the inside line. We get the job done there on the Haas spin. That's Esteban Ocon, and now we're going to lunge it to the inside at Mirabeau and get a job done there, and now try and go to the outside of the Alpine, but we're still alongside. We're going to have the inside line here for Portier. Have we got the job done on the Alpine? That is Hadjar, who's nearly got the job done there, and now we are going to get the exit. Hadjar helping us out and gets the job done there, but now we're all over the back of him, and we're going to take our teammate for that position as well that he's just gained and put him back down the order. We get the job done there. It's been a very successful restart to this Monaco Grand Prix for us as we're up into P15 after being last. We're going aggressive. You can overtake in Monaco, and we get Lance Stroll there at the chicane through the swimming pool now towards Raskas. We couldn't quite get the job done there, but we're going to go late down the inside of Jack Doohan, get the job done there, and we've gained another place. And now he's going wheel to wheel with Sir Lancelot. Lance Stroll's trying to do him round the outside. Can Stroll do it? They're still side by side. Hadjar's getting involved now potentially. They're still side by side as they head up the hill and now round the casino. He's going to have the inside line, is doing, and he just stays ahead of the Aston Martin. And now we're flying on these hard tyres. We are pushing quite hard. We're on the back of Nico Hulkenberg, and we get the job done on Nico Hulkenberg. And next up the road is Sonny Hayes, who likes a bit of chaos in his time racing, and it's going to be hard to overtake him without getting some bit of damage on our car. But we've completely done him around the outside at the second half of the chicane. We've done our classic Monaco move, and now we're on the verge of the top 10 as we're all over the back of the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso, and we've done copy and paste of what we did to Hayes round the outside at the second half of the chicane. And now Albon is the next car up the road, who is just, that has now put us on the verge of the points as Nico Hulkenberg's engine, that Ferrari engine in the back of that Sauber, has gone bang, and his day is over. And our hard tyres, after quite a lot of laps of pushing, were starting to go. We dropped back a bit from Alex Albon back into the back of Alonso, who we were pulling away from. We were all over the back of Albon, we just couldn't find a way past, but we were really struggling. And especially here at the casino, as we dropped the rear there, we nearly put it into the wall. But getting around the casino was like an ice rink on these tyres. But we had to drag them out because the mediums, which we were going to have to go to as we box out, only do 15 laps. So we've got a lap earlier than I ideally wanted to, so that's going to hurt us later on. But we're going to go on to the mediums here. Hadjar follows us in. He shouldn't be impeded by us though, he was a long way back. But we're going to come out of the pits now, all the way down pretty much at the back. But hopefully we can undercut some here, maybe get back on the back of Albon, maybe even jump Albon. We'll see what the grip is and tyre offset is as well, as this is Albon now making his stop on lap 24, just 15 laps to go in this Monaco Grand Prix. Very eventful so far, and we are already through the first corner. We've done an undercut of the century there, and we've gained multiple positions. We've jumped both of the Ferraris, and now next up the road is the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, and we've gone then from P11 to P9 in this race. And now we're all over the back of Oscar Piastri. Can we get the job done on the Australian, the man from Melbourne? We get the job done on Piastri, and we're up now into P8, and now we're looking to go down the inside of Carlos Sainz, who nearly ruined our race with that red flag. We couldn't find a way through though, going through to back and the swimming pool. But we head up towards Raskas Can we have a go now as we head towards the final corner? Into Anthony knows the final corner. We get the job done on Carlos Sainz. And now look at Charles Leclerc having a go. He's got Piastri. Can he get his former teammate Sainz around the outside? Yes, he can. It's a lovely double move by the home hero of Charles Leclerc. Lap 30 now, and our tyres were starting to scream a bit. There's just 9 laps to go. We couldn't catch George Russell, but what a race this is. We find ourselves in P5. Now we're all over the back though of us is Charles Leclerc. We've battled him a lot in past F1 games, but he gets us there at Zandvoort. There's not much we can do about that. The tyres have gone, but we are still pulling away from Sainz. But as we skip on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, Max Verstappen wins in Monaco again. It's 5 out of 5 for him, and he has finished a long way ahead of everyone else. 24 seconds up the road from his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. It's going to be a Red Bull 1-2 here today at the Principality, as Tsunoda just holds off Lando Norris to P2, Lando P3, George Russell P4. Charles Leclerc is going to get in the top 5 at his home Grand Prix, and our tyres went off, and we were just about trying to keep those behind. Piastri now, we were really trying to find a way through on us, but we're going to round the final corner from stone dead last. We are going to finish P6 here in Monaco.
You've heard this one before. Max Verstappen takes the victory.
And with 5 race victories now in a row, I mean, do we just give them the trophy now? It's for the others, surely, to try and stop that, because if that's how we're feeling, what must they be feeling as the competition for them? But I mean, what competition is there? They're running away with this championship as we speak.
Striding out to take the acclaim of the crowd and their team below are podium finishers. Max Verstappen has been here before, another win in Formula One.
So that's been then your Monaco Grand Prix, won though by Max Verstappen. Red Bull 1-2 with Yuki Tsunoda P2, and then Lando Norris getting on the podium for P3, just ahead of George Russell. Charles Leclerc taking us for P5, and we finish a great P6 after starting last. We tried to be clever on the strategy. It didn't really work out with the Sainz red flag. We had to go aggressive. We got the fastest lap in the process as well, and from P22 to P6 isn't bad at all. Maybe it could have been even better if we hadn't have taken the penalty for the engine, because we would have started P3, but we'll never know. Nico Hülkenberg was the one and only retirement of the Grand Prix today, and his teammate Gabriel Bortoleto was the final finisher on the road. So in terms of the Drivers' World Championship, it's still maximum points for Max Verstappen, 125 now, 57 points ahead of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc is P3, Yuki Tsunoda is P4, George Russell is P5. We are P8. We've closed in slightly on Oscar Piastri. So there's still multiple drivers still yet to score this season, even after a bit of a chaotic Monaco Grand Prix. Oliver Bearman though is still bottom of the table. And then in terms of the Constructors' World Championship, Red Bull continue to lead. They now have an 80-point lead over McLaren, who have jumped Ferrari this weekend by 3 points now. Mercedes are still P4 and we are still a P5, 20 points ahead of Aston Martin, and then Alpine is still bottom. So that's been then your Monaco Grand Prix. We go though to Montreal next for the Canadian Grand Prix and one of the best tracks on the Formula One calendar. I'll see you then. Goodbye.